that I competed in 2019 as well, and I represented Philippines in Boston, USA. We were lucky enough to come in as 15th in the world. After that competition, I thought I had nothing else to give to the coffee world. I thought it was the end for me. I wanted to do other things, like I wanted to learn how to play the guitar or sing in the side of the road. But I realized that the mission wasn't over after the pandemic. Like I was mentioning a while ago, one of the main things, I love coffee. I've been in coffee for 25 years, 26 years now. And one of the things I really love about coffee, aside from the culture, the flavors, the aroma, is the people in coffee. And what I realized about specialty coffee is it's always been about people working together. Right? And the greatest coffees, the ones that truly can move us, are born from connection. Right? And I feel that connection, just like this house where we're in, is something we need to work on. This house, like I was mentioning a while ago, it was empty for about 2 years after my grandfather passed away. So it was very lonely, it was very dark. And after mission here for this place is to connect people again, right? For friends that haven't seen each other for years to get together and share a meal, share a cup of coffee, and then talk about old times. One of the best examples is yesterday I had some friends that I haven't seen for over 15 years. I met them when I was still young and trying to make it in the coffee industry. They were actually one of the first people who gave me a good chance when I was starting in the coffee industry. They worked for a large fast food chain. And we connected yesterday again, and we were talking about just how it used to be in the old times when coffee wasn't even that popular yet. But now, yung ang dami ng coffee chains ngayon, ang dami ng mga popping up, like small cafes, pop-ups. Every event, every wedding you go to, there's coffee. And that's that connection that coffee builds, that conversation that people can have around it. Those hours that you just share a cup of coffee and talk about anything in life. I felt that topic had to be tackled in the world stage. That it's not just about the barista, it's not just about the farmers, right? Kasi lagi nila pinag-usapan, the farmers, where the coffee came from, or let's support the farmers, let's lift them up. But that's what I realized is it's a really long value chain where it's not just the farmers, it's not just the producers, it's not just the roasters, it's not just the barista or the cafe owner. It's about the consumers, the people who pay for the coffee. And one of my goals is to lift coffee up, teach people, consumers, about how to enjoy coffee, how to enjoy flavor, and the story behind it. And I think that story is part of building that connection between the end user and the farmer and everyone else in between. So that's one of our mission for this competition in Milan. That's what we're preparing for. How do we not only show the international community that hey, Philippines are good coffee, but also our fellow Filipinos na nanalo world, or Philippine coffee just won the World Barista Championship. Let's give it some attention. So it's also a way to kind of wake up our community, our leaders in government, our people who enjoy, the people who don't value coffee, the ones that don't pay enough for the value chain to survive. It's a wake-up call for them that if we don't do something about coffee, if we don't communicate how difficult coffee is and how much work goes into it, it's going to disappear from us. Philippines is one of the largest coffee consuming countries in Southeast Asia. We're actually the biggest, right? But we don't grow enough. We don't grow enough coffees. because yun nga, it is hard work. So in order for people to work more or give more to the coffee industry, we need to build value. And that value is given through connection, through storytelling, through sharing of knowledge and experience. Yeah, I hope everyone here can join us in this journey of building value for our coffee industry. Even countries like, for example, Barako. Barako is something that for the past 20 years, a lot of people have been talking about. A lot of social entrepreneurs have been trying to build it up. Unfortunately, those actions was not enough. Kasi, for example, in 2022, an Australian competitor in the World Barista Championship used Liberica, which is Barako, but it was a Malaysian Liberica. He got into the finals. Right? We've been pushing our Barako for years, and no one gave it much attention or much value. But because this Australian guy brought a Malaysian Liberica on the world stage, and he didn't even win. I think he came in fourth. Yung Malaysian Barako, nalagpasan yung popularity ng Philippine Barako. So what I'm saying is, I think we need to help each other out, like come together and really lift up Filipino coffee so that we can, hindi tayo mahuli, kawawa naman tayo. We've been promoting our coffee for so long, but naunahan tayo ng ibang bansa. And I think we need to help each other as Filipinos, as people who love our coffee, who love our culture. So yeah, thank you for being here. And I think, I hope I was clear about what our mission is, and I hope I can get your support. Do you guys have any questions?
How did you get started as a barista?
As a barista, really nice question. I started in coffee about 26 years ago. I was very young then. I was only 19 years old. And our family business kasi when I came to the Philippines is abacaro. Nothing to do with coffee. I started in coffee because abaca is a very competitive industry. Not only is it competitive, it's low margins. It's very difficult it's a very difficult industry. Our margins in terms of profitability is about 5%. If commodity prices of abaca changes, negative. Pwede ka malugi in an instant. The market was also very, very competitive. So I really love coffee. Like it was part of my daily ritual. I would have coffee in the morning, hang out with the staff, talk, enjoy coffee. And at the time, wala pa mga coffee shop. The coffee shop, I think, the popular chain had 1 or 2 branches at the power plant. Yeah. And at the time, we just love coffee. So our plan was to supply. So I went to Vietnam. I found a supplier of green coffee beans, and then I imported it with the plan of supplying these chains. Unfortunately, I didn't do my research. These chains do not buy supply. They already have existing suppliers. So I had no choice but to start roasting coffee. So I started roasting coffee. That was one of the first things I learned about coffee. I went to the US to learn how to roast. And then luckily enough, the people I reconnected with yesterday was looking for a coffee supplier. They're actually one of the biggest fast food restaurants. And they were looking for a coffee supplier. And we met, inaraw-araw namin sila until they were looking, the purchaser, which she came out and said, "Where's that coffee guy?" And then we were sitting right there. And then, ang dami ng mga requirements, ISO, HACCP, GMP. And this was about 20 years ago. Hindi pa uso yung ISO, hindi pa uso ang food safety na. And we met every criteria. And that's how we got started in coffee. To answer your question in terms of being a barista, I started training as a barista in 2018, so 18 years down the line. So as a coffee entrepreneur, we always thought that as an entrepreneur, you're the best. Ikaw pinakamagaling, right? When it comes to coffee, you're the expert. Kasi you're the owner of the business. In 2018, I wanted to put that idea to the test. I thought that if I knew that much about coffee, if I enter a competition, I would win. I could walk the coffee talk. I was wrong. I got my butt kicked that year. Being a barista is difficult. The palm of my hand from the steaming burnt, right? My palate, kasi you taste the coffee. I couldn't taste a thing after all that practice, right? So it was a learning. It was a journey of learning. So in 2018, got my butt kicked, but I did learn something that every time you fail, you have to get up and keep trying. I wanted to quit. I wanted to sell the business. I was that devastated. Owner ako of one of the largest coffee roasting companies, and natalo ako by a student, by a barista. So I respected the profession of being a barista. So I trained 8 hours a day every day for a year. Right? I must have made 300, 400 cups of coffee a day every day, right, for a year. And I competed in 2019 and we won. Not only did we win, we went to Boston, USA, and we came in as 15th in the world. And at the time, I thought, okay, mission finished. I proved to myself I'm a barista. And then I felt that it's not over. The idea was to bring Philippine coffee to the world stage and win with it. We didn't do that. We didn't win in 2019. So now that we were able to support some farms, we adopted it through the Giving Cafe. We've elevated the flavors and the value of the taste value of Philippine coffee from Itogon Benguet, from Laguna. I think it's about time that we bring Philippine coffee again to the world stage, and hopefully this time, with everyone's support, with everyone working together, supporting each other, I hope we can bring the trophy home and give honor to our 500 years of coffee. Coffee's been here for over 500 years, and it's time that people discover it. Thanks.
How do you prepare for the competition?
How do I prepare for the competition? Okay, so the World Barista Championship is a very difficult competition. In 15 minutes, you're supposed to not only be able to communicate, it's almost like a TED Talk but with coffee. So you should have a profound idea, a profound message. Right? That's part of it. In the previous years, in 2019, for example, that wasn't scored. Now it's scored. What they're looking for, first of all, is an ambassador for coffee. Someone to represent specialty coffee, who would lift it up, to represent the values of specialty coffee, which is fair trade, treating people with respect, respecting the coffee, and lifting the community up. The preparation is a bit difficult because not only do we need to stand out as human beings, we also need our beverages to stand out. So the majority of the scoring is on accuracy. So if you serve, for example, an espresso, you have to be able to communicate what the judges or consumers, they represent the consumers, what the consumers are going to be tasting. So for example, for my National Barista Championship, the coffee I used tasted like candied plums, blueberry, and cocoa. So you're judged on accuracy. So if the judges cannot taste any of those, 0. If they can taste all 3, full marks. So that's part of it. And then the other part is the experience. It might taste like blueberry, but it's bitter as heck, diba? So that would score lower as well. So the main part of preparation is palate. Eat as much fruits as you can, eat as much food as you can, and eating mindfully. So when I'm eating, for example, a strawberry, I'm thinking about, okay, what's the acidity level? What's the sweetness level? How do I describe this strawberry without saying it's strawberry? I think it's one of the most toughest things. Like pretend that Sam here has never had a mango. I'm going to describe to you what a mango tastes like, for example, right? So it's similar to a kiwi, but it's sweeter with the acidity of ganito. So that's one of the practices. That's one of the ways we prepare. The other way we prepare is we have a training room in one of our facilities, and we have the exact dimensions of the stage, the competition stage. And the reason why we do that, and I don't think much baristas do this, is we build muscle memory. So for example, for the National Barista Championship, I knew exactly how many steps I need to take from the judges' table to the machine. And you can blindfold me and I can do it. Because we do it 8 hours a day, every day, over and over and over again. I know if I grind my coffee, more or less the time grinding it, how many grams is it. So the preparation is a little bit crazy, but I believe that's how pushing yourself to that edge is what would differentiate us from a different barista, right? So in the world stage, I spoke to some of the judges that judged me this year, and they said that's good enough to win. And I said no, it's not. If I think good enough to win is probably 10, 15 times better than what we're currently doing, and that would guarantee. It's just that mentality na it's, perfection is far, you have to keep chasing it. Even though you get to that level, you have to keep chasing it. Because if you don't think that way, another barista will think that way, and they're in a
Sir, what technique did you apply during the competitions, and what is your edge over the other competitors?
Okay, so in terms of technique, during the competition, we're supposed to serve 3 different courses. The first course is espresso. The second course is a milk course, so it's like a latte. And then the third course is like a coffee cocktail with no alcohol. So each of those courses we bring something a little bit special to. So for example, the espressos, the techniques I applied to it is not much of me as a barista, but more of the technique in the farm level. Right? So the processing method that we use for that was a method that one of my friends in Colombia applies to his coffee. Colombia is one of the top coffee producing countries in the world. The quality of their coffee is so good, and the reason why it's so good is because of the farming techniques and the processing methods applied there. So I was there last year, exactly the same time as now, July. I spent a month there, and I was mentored by a guy named Milton Benitez. And his processing technique, his approach to coffee is so advanced that his coffees, when you say it tastes like, for example, raspberries and white chocolate, it tastes like raspberries and white chocolate. So on the score sheet, that's full marks. So we applied this farming technique to our Iberica coffees. And I think that's one of the edge, because not only is Iberica low in caffeine, right? Caffeine is bitter. So when something is low in caffeine, it's sweeter. Matamis. Mas matamis yung Iberica natin. So that's what gave us the edge for our espresso course. For our milk course naman, my background is in the background of our company, Henry and Son. We have a lot of food scientists. So the milk course that we served was not only was it lactose-free milk, lactose-free because lactose-free milk is sweeter, 5 times sweeter than regular milk. What happens with lactose-free is they put an enzyme called lactase to break down the lactose. Okay? When lactose is broken down by this enzyme, it turns into glucose and galactose, which is 5 times sweeter than regular milk. So that's the type of milk I use. But we didn't stop there. Because yung nga, of our food science background, we freeze dry that milk, that sweet milk. Once you freeze dry that milk, you remove 100% of its liquids, and then we reconstituted it with the same milk. So it's like a condensed milk, but sweeter, creamier, and it tastes like, alam mo yung white rabbit candy?
Yes.
Tastes like that. So imagine that in coffee that tastes like blueberries. So yeah, I would say our edge is not just about the training regimen we go through, it's our scientific background. From the microbiology, the science we apply to the soil, to the seed, to the process, and then we apply it to the milk. And then for our signature drink, we took inspiration from the enzymes used during the milk course. We use the same enzymes to transform our signature course. Part of the goal kasi for that signature course in the World Barista Championship is they want transformational change. So if you serve an espresso that tastes like blueberries, for the signature course, they don't want it to taste like blueberries. They want you to add something to it to transform the flavor. So for our signature course, what we did was we added clarified mangoes. So mango puree spun in a centrifuge to separate the pulp from the liquid. We then used that, we put it in the coffee, and from that, the candy plum stays transformed into canned peaches. It's pretty amazing. The second ingredient we used was macerated raspberries. When we added that into the concoction, it came out as strawberries and pineapples. So transformational. And then my last ingredient was a cold brew Liberica that when we added it in, it came out as banana, white grape, and vanilla. So yeah, our edge is more on the scientific. Yeah, I think the gist of it is the science of it. That's what separates us from other baristas. Mahaba ng sagot ko.
So did you encounter difficulties during your preparation?
There's always difficulties, and I think the main difficulty I had this time is because coffee is a natural product, right? And the coffee I chose was a little bit temperamental. On one day it would taste like blueberries, it would taste super sarap. The next day it could taste like salty plums. It's a little bit weird, right? So masarap siya all the way. Yung coffee niya. Until the day of the competition, it decided to change its flavor by itself. Decide na lang siya not to cooperate. And on that day, it tasted like alam mo yung kiamboy? Kiamboy? It tasted like kiamboy.
Oh my God.
So I was freaking out. Not only was I freaking out, my coach was freaking out. He was, alam mong messed up siya. Kasi stress siya. And yun nga, we are scored on accuracy. I was lucky that day because so sabi ko, lasang kiamoy. Okay, ano ang components ng kiamoy? Licorice, diba? Salted plums, a little bit of dried orange peel. So that was my descriptor on that day. I did not say blueberries at all. We changed it on the spot because that's what we tasted. And luckily enough, we had enough practice and enough muscle memory that when the mind is thinking and the mouth is moving, the body is, you're doing three things at a time, at the same time, you're multitasking. And we had enough training that, we had the
There's a
presence
time
of
limit,
mind
sir.
to, 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Do you think other baristas do, other barista competitors, that muscle memory thing?
Oh yeah, I think the ones who are competing against in the world, this is how they train. I'm sure. I don't know. I've never seen anyone else train. I've trained baristas that has won our local championships. When I coach, I make sure that they're able to move this way. And the main reason for that is, imagine you're in a stage with over 60 other competitors, with a crowd of 100. You cannot freeze. Diba? So sometimes when I competed in Boston, USA, for example, all of a sudden, lockout, you don't know what's happening, and then 15 minutes is up, you're done. And then I tell sabihin ng mga teammates ko, hey, you did great. I did. I don't remember anything. Did you guys see the video? And then we watched the video, and it was flawless.
Oh my God.
So parang lumabas ka na lang, tinapos mo, bumalik ka na lang nung you call for time. So I think it's very important to train this way.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Because it's your training your subconscious and how to
Yeah.
move.
And yung nga, like the only danger is if your coffee is like mine. That changes. Then you have to be in the moment, be mindful of what's happening, and make the adjustment.
Now, because of that experience, did you make any other change or make any adjustments on the future, like things?
So right after the national championship, I called all the farmers that we work with and I said, padalan niyo ako ng sample. Medyo delikado yung current coffee ko. So yeah, we're in search of good coffee that we can bring to the world stage and hopefully win with. So we're not limited to the coffee farms that we're in touch with. We're looking for more. And yung the mission is to bring Philippine coffee to the world and feature the best of the best. I think that's the only way we can give it world attention. So yeah, it was huge learning kasi sabi nga ng coach ko at saka mga teammates ko, wala ulitin yung coffee. Benta mo na lang. But for me, I'm a fan of that coffee, and I love coffee that it's not negative. There's nothing wrong with that coffee. It just changes, and sometimes life is like that, right? You don't know what you're gonna get, and that's kind of exciting.
What do you think happened in oxidation or something?
I think the coffee is so complex and so flavorful that those flavors are there. It's just
Through time, probably.
through time lumabas siya. So it just took time. So I think it's still a good coffee. We just need more time to understand it.
I think you're a scientist, good scientist can
Yeah.
figure that.
I think kasi like ours, coffee has over 1,000 different
Yes.
volatile aroma compounds. And a lot of those volatile aroma compounds it's under the threshold, meaning our palate, our senses cannot sense it, right? But sometimes there's some of those volatile aroma compounds that go up, right, through degassing, through age, and then some that come down. Right? So maybe the blueberry aroma, blueberry flavor went down, and then the salted plums went up, the licorice went up, so it tasted like yummy. Or somebody swapped the coffee on me.
Sabotage.
Sabotage. But yeah, I think blessing din yun because of course everyone knows Kiamoy.
Yeah.
My judges were Asians. So, but imagine if I brought that to Italy. Ano tayo?
So who influenced you in drinking coffee?
My dad. One of my earliest memory, I was around 12, 15 years old maybe, around that age. No, he didn't let me drink it. He taught me how to make a cappuccino. So he lived in Nova Scotia, and I visit him every summer. And in Nova Scotia, it's cold. Kahit summer, it's cold. And he had this espresso machine. I think the brand was Braun, German brand. And every morning he would make espresso and foam milk. And I remember that summer he taught me how to make a cappuccino for him. I drank it in secret. Kasi hindi rin ako tatangkad. Totoo naman, medyo ako pinakamaliit sa family. But yeah, that's my earliest memory. And I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed making it. So when I won the National Barista Championship, sabi niya, ako nagturo sito.
The bragging rights of the family.
Bragging rights niyo yun.
Can you discuss the feeling once you heard your name called as a champion or your team's name as a champion?
I cried.
Really?
No, kasi when we were about to announce, of course, you prepare yourself, di ba? But no matter how you prepare yourself, if you work for something that hard, it affects you. I didn't think it would, but it affected me kasi it meant that more hard work.
Yes.
That's what it meant to me. Like, winning nationals is just part of the journey. I think competing in the world is the big one. So if I spend 8 hours a day every day training, then for the world, it has to be double that. We only have 24 hours. So it meant hard work. And right now, the past 2 weeks is like my break time. And then I lock myself in my training room again and then figure out what to do for the world.
Sir, what advice do you give to those newbie who want to learn and become a professional barista?
The very first, for competing or to be a barista?
Baristas.
To be a barista, I think to have an open mind, to have an open mind and learn. I've been, yun nga, tagal ko na sa coffee and I'm still learning every day. You never stop learning. You should have an open mind. I think there is learning from everything, not even in different disciplines, not in coffee alone. So I think to be a coffee professional, you have to be good at many things. A lot of the tools I use as a barista is from 3D printing. I had to learn 3D printing, 3D modeling. I had to learn microbiology. I had to learn food science. So it's about having an open mind and wanting to learn. I read scientific journals at night before I go to sleep. Not to put myself to sleep, but because I enjoy it. So I think for newbies, that's the tip. For baristas that want to compete naman, find a mentor and read the rules. Because a lot get disqualified in competition. Mahirap na yung magko-compete na hindi nagbasa eh. I think that so the gist of it is respect the competition. Respect the competition. You guys have other questions?
Good.
So nice to hear that kasi a lot of people they would say,
It's just coffee.
you're just barista ka lang eh. A lot of people say that, but hearing all the stuff that you did and how you prepare for competition, hindi pala, it's very wrong to call them just a barista.
Actually, the barista, for me, because the coffee value chain is so long, from if you name or count the number of people who has touched that coffee before it gets to
To
the
the
consumer,
barista.
it's a dami niya. And these people are all very hardworking. They all they don't earn enough. The barista is the last person to touch that coffee before it gets to the consumer. So a barista is an ambassador of coffee. That's
Agree.
why our baristas were very hard on them to have the knowledge to communicate that coffee, what's it about, and bring the best flavors out of it. Kasi, an example is, the yield, when you pick coffee cherries, right, a kilo, let's say, para madali ba, 1 kilo of coffee, 1% ang yield. So 100 grams. A kilo of cherries is 100 grams of coffee. The 100 grams of coffee, you use 20 grams per cup. 5 cups. 5 cups. So that's how difficult it is, right? And these farmers, they're not paid a lot for the coffee. So let's say there's some companies they pay magkano na ba green beans? Mga mahal ngayon. 500 pesos, for example, per kilo. How much do they have to pay? How much time do they have to put in for that 500 pesos? So it's a lot of hard work that needs to be communicated and shared. That way consumers would pay a little bit more for their coffee. Kasi that needs to go to the farmers, that needs to go to the entire value chain. Hindi naman natin pwede sabihin, trader yan, tanggalin na natin. That used to be the line, 20 years ago. Don't go to the trader, go direct to the farmer. But what we realized, that trader plays a very important role. Because here in the Philippines, our farms are all micro farms. Like, one farm can produce 5 kilos. If a coffee roaster like us goes to that farm and buys that 5 kilos, it's not enough. Right? So it's just a few cups of coffee. So that coffee trader, trust has to be built. They go from farm to farm, pay them the right amount, and then bring it to us consolidated with the right quality, the right. So ngayon, it's important talaga, the entire value chain, walang pwedeng i-cut. Right? And everyone has to make their fair share. Not just the coffee shop, not just the trader, but everyone, for me, should be earning evenly. And that's what TGC is all about. This cafe, we actually take 8% of our total revenue and build post-harvest facilities for coffee farmers. I love it. We have a project coming up this July, end of July, where we're going to be giving not fertilizer, but more of, we're going to give back to the soil, right? Micronutrients and macronutrients, just to ensure that harvest this year is going to be good. What we also learned is for every kilo you harvest, you have to put the same amount of kilo on the ground. Because it's not like the waste, the organic waste of those cherries go directly to the ground. It comes here to Manila. Diba? So our mission this end of July is to go to the farms and teach the farmers on how to put nutrients back into the soil through organic farming. And that's going to make our coffee way better.
Sir, maganda namang business ang coffee kasi malaki yung
That's not true anymore. In the past, ganun siya. Ganun siya dati when for example, if you coffee negosyo ko, supplier, how can I say it's not? But the truth of the matter is, if you're going to open a coffee shop and you think you're going to ROI in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it's not true. Because coffee is, do people pay more than 200 pesos per cup of coffee? They do not. Right? It's very difficult to sell coffee at high prices. Not only that, coffee prices now is at its highest in 30 years. Right? Even if you factor in inflation, coffee prices is very expensive. So, kung magka-coffee business, it's tough. It's not easy. ROI doesn't come easily. That's why here at the Giving Cafe, we're lucky enough that we have good food. 90% of our sales is food. 10% is coffee. So if you're going to open a coffee shop, make sure you have food. Make sure you have a worthy cause. Right? It's not just, magpatayo kami ng coffee shop just to ROI and to make money. It's not like that anymore. I think in this day and age, people support causes. Purpose. Right? A purpose everyone can gather around. And so, for entrepreneurs who would like to enter the coffee industry, straight out, it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, and it cannot be coffee alone. I don't think we can survive on coffee alone. So it has to be multifaceted. I've seen some coffee shops succeed, but not because of coffee, but because of the service they give, right? The experience they give. So yeah, I don't think it's easy to ROI. It's almost impossible actually. If you're just selling coffee, it's not. That's the big down.
It's a business.
No, but it's being honest. It's being real. That enter the coffee industry. If one, you love coffee, and then accept that it's an expensive hobby.
Yes, it is.
It is. It's a very expensive hobby. A lot of my friends, they end up opening coffee businesses, not because they want to earn money, it's because they want to fund their hobby. So, yun. That's the reality of
That's the
coffee.
reality now.
Gusto mo fast ROI? Ano ba ang fast ROI? Wala eh, walang ganun. No such thing. Scuba ka na lang.
Final message?
Final message? Well, I'm really thankful for everyone who's here today. And I'm really thankful for the support of the Filipino coffee community. I hope that this coming October, you guys can support our journey to the World Barista Championship. I feel that it's about time that Philippine coffee or Filipino barista make it to the world stage. My hope is we can bring honor to Philippines and Philippine coffee and put the global spotlight back in the Philippines. Coffee's been here for over 500 years, and I think that it's about time that we start getting the attention again, bringing the attention back to our country. We're very lucky to say that our microclimate, our terroir, our location is suitable for growing this. Right? And we're lucky to have very nice coffees with a lot of potential. What's lacking lang is that people to put more value into our coffee, to love it, to elevate it. Right? So yeah, thank you so much for your time, and yeah, I'll see you guys all after October.